So today's video is all about helping those of you who hit the ball too high. You'll know you hit it too high because compared to similar golfers to yourselves that you've played with, your ball flight with the same iron will be a lot higher than theirs. You'll struggle in the wind, you will get less penetration on your shots, you might even find your distance is down as well, and particularly you might struggle in the winter when the ground is soggy and wet compared to your playing partners, whereas you'll have a much better game in the summer when it's nice and firm and dry. So if any of those apply to you, listen in and we'll go into it in a bit more detail as to why you hit it too high and how we can practice not doing so. So I'll start off by hitting a ball that is in effect too high. I'm using an 8 iron today, and I'll just hit an 8 iron which is in effect too high. Okay, so there we go. Let's have a look at the numbers here. With the use of quad, we can have a look at all of these numbers. And I want to show you a couple of things. Right, okay, so on these tiles in the corner here, which I hope you can see, I've put the important information which we're going to use today. So, first of all, the second box down shows the loft. Now that is the loft of this club that was showing on the club at the point of impact. Now this 8 iron has 36 degrees of loft from the manufacturer, my Mizuno club. And you can see there at the point of impact, I actually showed the golf ball 38.3 degrees of loft. So I actually showed more loft to the ball than I actually bought on the club. That has a big effect on the angle of attack. So was the club travelling up or down to the ball? Well, I can tell you on this occasion, it was travelling 1 degree on the way up. So my low spot of my swing was obviously too far behind the golf ball, and the carry of that shot was 130 yards. Okay, so not anywhere near the distance I'd expect from my 8 iron. So why is all of that? Well, at the point of impact, what I can do, and I put all of that into picture form for you, is that the loft of the club, which is 36 when it's presented like this, was actually 38. So the shaft was leaning back at the point of impact. If the shaft was leaning back at the point of impact, that means the angle of attack, the club was travelling very close to the ground prior to impact. So I didn't have any downward compression on the ball. That means in the middle of winter, when the ground is soggy or if there's a little tuft of grass behind the ball, you're going to catch that every single time, and with wet soggy ground you're going to hit the ball very inconsistently and very fat, and you're not going to get the consistency you expect in summer. What we're looking for, and what your guys who hit the ball too high are looking for, is to change that impact position to present less loft on the club. So even though this has got, just a reminder, 36 degrees of loft on it, at the point of impact, I want to be showing the club only about 28 degrees, so something like that, of loft at the point of impact. So that means suddenly I don't impact the club in this neutral position, which a lot of people think you do. You impact the ball with the shaft leaning forwards between 6 to 8 degrees, something like that. Now, in order to achieve that, that automatically means the club is travelling on a more downward blow, which takes out the inconsistencies of strike because the ground behind the ball now is not in play half as much. So we get a more downward blow, a more penetrating flight, less loft showing on the club, and we hit the ball further. So it's a win-win-win across the board. So let's show you what that looks like, and I'll give you some ideas as to what you can practice to achieve it. Okay, so remember the numbers: 38 loft, 1 degree on the way up. The ball launched, as a matter of interest, at 23.9 degrees. This will be significantly lower when it leaves this mat. Okay, let's have a look at that one when it lands eventually. Okay, so a slightly different shot considering it's the same golf club. So this launch angle of that shot was 16 degrees compared to 23, big difference. The loft showing on the club was 22 degrees. So I've taken the loft down from 38 to 22 with the same golf club at the point of impact. Obviously this is a bit too low, so I'm doing it to affect the results for you. But the angle of attack now is 6.9 degrees on the way down, which means I can play out of much worse lies when my club is heading on the way down to the ball rather than on the way up to the golf ball. And you can see the carry has gone from 130 to 162. So just by changing, same club head speed, so changing the conditions of impact with this golf club, I've become a much stronger player. Now obviously I want that somewhere in the middle, and I could practice that, but I'm going to give you the thing, if you're someone who hits it too high, I'm going to give you something to exaggerate it slightly so that you can learn what it feels like to hit the ball lower. So I want you, not too technical a thoughts at all. What's actually happening is that you're releasing the golf club, if you like, before you get to the golf ball. So your wrist hinge is coming out of your golf swing. Your hands are still behind the golf ball when that happens. Therefore, you're adding loft to the club if you hit the ball too high consistently. When I hit that last shot, my hands made it past the golf ball, this side of the ball, before the wrist hinge came out, and therefore it was downward and it was compressional and it had less loft showing on the ball. And again, that's slightly unnatural because in golf we know we want to get the ball in the air, so a lot of people do this early releasing to send the ball very high. Really quick tip for you, I want you to imagine now that you're practicing in your lounge, right? Just imagine, and right in front of you is your coffee table, about a yard ahead of you, and on top of the coffee table is your mum's best teapot. I want you to drill this golf ball underneath the coffee table to its destination rather than smashing the teapot on top. So it's the same feeling you'll get when you're caught in the trees and they're all hanging, the branches are hanging down low and you're just trying to punch it out 100 yards to the fairway. Automatically then, because of your scenario, you'll be forced into probably moving the ball back. This is what you'll do. That automatically gives you shaft lean, and now you're able to punch the ball low by keeping loft off the club. I don't want you to move the ball back to achieve this in your practice drill. I want you to keep the ball exactly where it is, but I want you to get used to the fact, and just picture this sort of bar here, if you like, ahead of you, where I want you to hit the ball low and under that bar here. You might find to start with it curtails your follow through slightly, because early releases tend to result in flourishing follow throughs. Late releases tend to result in a more Fleetwood-esque finish here where you hold the club off, but over time you will allow your follow through to finish normally once you've changed your impact criteria. So if we go for something in the middle here, or practice again actually I'll practice another low one for you. Here we go, nice and low. Okay, nice straight golf shot, powerful and low. Again, carrying probably further than I normally carry an 8-iron, to be honest with you, carrying 158. Loft showing this time 26 degrees. Don't forget it was 36 when I bought it. So that's 10 degrees of shaft lean at the point of impact. And I'm looking for 6 to 8 to be consistently, get a nice consistent flight on the ball, which is kind of where I normally am. So if you're in any doubt or need any help with this, come and see us in here. Come and have everything quantified so you know what you're doing. You know if your practice is achieving anything. That's very, very important. But think of the coffee table, play underneath that, play all your shots underneath that. If it ends up that you're thinking that every shot is a punch shot for a while, that wouldn't be a bad thing, because that's the bit you're missing. You're missing that holding of the angle through impact to create less loft on the ball. It'll be worth some distance, definitely be worth a better quality of stroke for you, and overall it should improve your golf game and your ability to score. Hope that helps. Again, fire any questions at us, we're happy to help you. But have good practice and we'll see you when the sun comes up.